What's up, everybody? One Fun Guy podcast, just hanging out in the studio tonight. I just wanted to go over a few things with everybody as I'm just relaxing tonight, guys. Tonight's not an official podcast or anything like that. I just wanted to thank Jack for coming on the show and Kaji for coming on the show. I've tried to do a couple things recently with my podcast, and I think I'm just going to try to stick to what I have started with, guys, and that's just staying with people that I find interesting and people that I want to interview. I was trying to for a little bit. As I said before, chase celebrities and try to get some famous people on to draw some some views to my show. And I think what I'm going to do, guys, is just stay true to myself and be interview the people that I want to interview and that I know and that I want to get to know and kind of just keep it more intimate. I'm happy with that, guys, and I'm content with that. As much as I'd love to blow my channel up and have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and do all that stuff in time, I think it'll happen. But for right now, I am just trying to just get some people on that I like, that I want to have on, and that I think are going to make good guests. So for me, guys, for now, I have all my guests lined up through July, a few into August. So I'm just kind of keeping it simple, guys. If you're on and you like what you see, follow my show, like my show. Again, guys, I come on TikTok live to basically get people over to my YouTube channel. So I'm not going to ask you to tap my face 1,000 times. I'm not going to battle. I'm not going to do anything. If you guys want to send me gifts, like I said, I'm more than appreciative to get them and to do that, but I'm not asking anybody for any of that stuff, guys. If you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, it's in my link, One Fun Guy Podcast over on YouTube. I would be more than happy with that. That's free. It takes about 20 seconds to hit the subscribe button. I would definitely want that to happen, guys. If that was the case. I'm not, like I said, I'm not asking for any gifts. I'm not asking for 1,000 likes or 10,000 likes or you to tap my face or any of that kind of stuff. All I'm asking for is if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would be awesome. That's really all I'm asking, guys. If that could be done, I'd appreciate that more than anything. Just to get my YouTube channel growing and so people could see my podcast, and everybody that I have interviewed and that I'm going to interview. That's what I want, guys. That's my goal, is to get my YouTube numbers up. So appreciate everything on TikTok here. I love it. Like I said, I'm the One Fun Guy Podcast. I'm just hanging out tonight, taking some notes. I have my next guest is going to be Letitia. She's on here as Letitia, the cleaning lady. She's in my bio. I'm going to link all her stuff tonight. She's going to be my next guest on next Saturday. I had Kaji last Saturday and Jack Wednesday. So this weekend I'm kind of taking a little bit of a break, kind of recouping, coming on here, going on YouTube, doing a bunch of stuff that way. But for tonight, I'm just kind of hanging out, and getting ready for the next week's podcast with Letitia. She's awesome. That's going to be, fantastic. She's got a great story to tell. She came over a ton of adversities in her life. She's actually doing a couple wonderful things, has a great charity she's a part of, and she's just a superhuman being, and we love hanging out with her. So, with that being said and everything, going, forward in that regard, sorry, guys, I put some stuff underneath my thing and it fell in my shirt, so sorry I'm a little dirty here. But so anyways, that's all I'm doing tonight, guys, is just hanging out. If you want to be a part of this, that's awesome. If you're here and you want to, hang on, you can. I'm just trying to, get some stuff going on and doing some notes and getting myself prepped for the next week's show. So that's what's happening now. But if you're on and you want to hop on, you could say hi. If you're here, that's awesome. If you are part of the show, what's up, Sylvia? If you're on and you want to say hi, say hi. If you want to share my show, if you want to what's going on, do that. But like I said, guys, my podcast is kind of taking a little bit of a different route. I'm not going to go after the super famous people like I thought I was going to try to do. I've emailed them, and I know they have busy schedules and they have lives and they got stuff going on. But I'm going to stick with the low key people that I want to promote and that I want to see succeed in life. That's my goal. So I'm gonna do that. So I'm kind of just hanging out and doing my thing and going from there. And I'm just kind of being myself with my podcast. I'm not going to chase the celebrities down. There's a few people that I had. It's just logistically, it's too hard to get them on and to be a part of my podcast. As much as I'd love to have it, and I think it would grow my channel immensely, I just don't see that being the case. It's just hard logistically to get them on. So all I'm doing is getting prepped for next week, guys. So I'm hanging out, taking some notes, and just chilling out tonight, guys. Just hanging out. I haven't done it in a while. I go live and I just kind of hang out for a few minutes, and then I say what I got to say and I hop off. But tonight I think I'll hang out for a little bit. I don't have anything going on tonight, so if anybody has any questions, if anybody has any guests they think would make up for a good podcast, if you yourself want to be on my podcast, shoot me a message, let me know. We'll make that happen. I have a few people that I have in mind. I've reached out to a few people, so I'm just kind of hanging out and doing my thing, guys. The podcast is super successful. I'm on episode number 23. Next week is going to be number 24. So I'm super excited about that. And then, I'm gonna do one podcast a week for the unforeseeable future. So, did I like SmackDown last night? Nah, I wasn't that great. Honestly, I didn't think it was anything special. The WWE is in a tough spot for wrestling. I don't see the characters going anywhere. Unfortunately, I don't see the Bloodline doing anything. They should let Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa do God again. I know that was a New Japan thing. So if anybody is not familiar with Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga in New Japan, check them out. They were part of the Bullet Club as the Guerrillas of Destiny, God. They were one of the best tag teams in the last decade. So if you check out Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, and if the WWE would grow some balls and do the God thing, there's no storyline. I hate, Cody Rhodes has no real opponent. Teaming him up with, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton is really not that great of a gimmick. Like it's been done before. If you were going to do anything, and you were going to team up anybody, you would do probably Cody Rhodes. I would say, if they really do the Bo Dallas character well, and you really do the Randy Orton character right, if they were to kind of mess with that, you could call them like the generation or legends of wrestling, right? Their dads were pro wrestlers, and they come from real wrestling families. So I don't know, like I know that the WWE has these awesome writers, right? And they have all these people that are talented in writing and storylines and stuff like that. But if I'm a simple guy hanging out in a studio and I could write better stories than them, why doesn't the WWE pay me, $500,000 a year, and I'll write some awesome stories, right? If I can do it sitting in my house on my couch hanging out, people should be able to get storylines together. I don't know, the professional wrestling just is terrible right now. And it should be the most exciting thing. You have three major companies, right? That are out there. AEW is awesome, but they're, banking on the Forbidden Door thing, right? There's nobody in New Japan anymore to do anything with. All the major companies have taken everybody. So New Japan is struggling to find talent because they're all hopping to the major, promotions. So I don't even see that being good anymore, right? Like New Japan's kind of struggling, right? They have arguably one of the best characters right now in professional wrestling in Jack Perry, right? I mean, he's awesome. He totally dropped the Jungle Boy thing. He's completely developed into his own thing. They had an awesome thing with him and CM Punk, right? They got in that fight and they were running that storyline. Like, now's the time to bring him back and go head to head with WWE, right? You have somebody that could, CM Punk is probably top 5 talent in the WWE right now, right? You know, if you were to, you know, he gets some of the loudest pops. Have Jack Perry go toe to toe with him. Do what he was doing, right? To call him the scapegoat, right? Tell him, you know, put him on AEW and say, you know what, F you, CM Punk. You know, you left this company. Like, go toe to toe. Cody Rhodes had no problem taking a sledgehammer to Triple H's chair on the AEW show. Why don't they run with Jack Perry? Why don't they let him go, right? Let him be, you know, be an exciting character and call out CM Punk for what he is. I mean, I like CM Punk's character, but, you know, he's not a great wrestler. You know, he's a crybaby. Let him call him out for what he is. I don't know. I mean, you know, CM Punk sells seats, right? He sells merchandise. He gets butts in the chairs. That's what you do as a professional wrestler. So, I mean, he's awesome in that regard. I mean, I find him exciting. I just don't think he's that talented as a wrestler, but he sells, and that's what wrestlers need to do. So, kudos to him, right? He's kind of like the Macho Man of our generation, right? He's kind of just a nomad and goes where he wants to go, and you know, he puts asses in the seats. That's what their jobs are. So yeah, I don't know. That's just the way that it is right now and the way that they're doing. You know, it's just thanks Sylvia for the gift. I appreciate that. But you know, it is. It's just, you know, Mama T-Bird said it right. It's just boring, right? It's always the same. They have the talent to make a great show, right? They can do awesome stuff. They just opt not to. I don't know why. You know, putting the bloodline, like, it's over, right? Roman's done. Solo Sikoa is awesome. He's not a good mic person. It's stupid. There's nobody in the bloodline anymore. And bringing Jacob Fatu is just going to kill his career because he's just going to be a fourth member in an... I don't know. I'm just going to stop there because I could talk all night about how pathetic it is right now. But, you know, it's just the way it is, right? That's the business. And you either watch it and you like it or you don't, you know, and I watch it and I like it, but I'm frustrated. I thought SmackDown sucked. I thought Raw sucked. AEW is killing it right now. New Japan is super hot, but they're losing all their talent, right? Everyone's taking all the New Japan guys. They're going to TNA. They're going to WWE. They're going to, you know, AEW. So there's nobody left for New Japan, right? They're saturated with talent, right? Their training is awesome. Go to the dojo. It's, you know, and the Bullet Club is great, right? And, you know, Dave Finlay, he's another one, right? His dad was Fit Finlay. He's a generational guy. They have a bunch of generational guys right now. They should start calling each other out. Call them for what it is. You know, you have the Bloodline, which is, you know, the Okawa family and, you know, the Johnsons, and you know, that they're great, right? You know, all the Wild Samoans and Rikishi and, you know, all their kids are in it, but so are everybody else, right? You have Randy Orton's his son, Cowboy Bob Orton, you know, Cody is Dusty, Dave is Fit Finlay. I mean, there's a lot of guys that could call each other out now, right? The Bloodline's not the only legacy family in wrestling anymore, right? And like I said, you had, you know, unfortunately with you know, the Bray Wyatt, but I mean, Bo Dallas, you know, is Mike Rotunda's son. Like, they let them wrestle together. You know, the unfortunately, I just don't think, you know, the Wyatt family's going to do anything, right? It's cool that the characters pay homage to Bray, but who are they going to wrestle? None of them are that good, right? And I'm not taking anything away from them, but they don't have the talent Bray Wyatt had, right? Bo Dallas is not Bray Wyatt. He's a guy. He's a mid-carder. So are you going to have him wrestle for the WWE Championship? No. Intercontinental? No. U.S. Championship? No. Tag team? Who's he going to pair with, right? They're not going to win any belts. So it's just a nostalgic push for Bray. And, you know, look at what WWE did to Bray Wyatt, right? They buried him, right? Probably the best character in the past 20 years since The Undertaker, in my opinion. And they let him stay mid-card. They gave him the belt once. They took it off of him. So that's what they get. No fault to anybody else but their own. But, I mean, what a great character. What a great concept. And they blew it. And now they're going to blow it again. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, there's really no point in talking about it, just because I could say to myself very easily that this is what it is, right? And, you know, I've had some guys talk about wrestling on my podcast before, and I've been a guest on people's wrestling podcasts, but I'm one guy, and my opinion doesn't matter. I mean, we talk about it, you know, kind of a thing, but like, you're paying these writers hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and they can't come up with a storyline, but people in the internet world can put stuff together and concept wrestling to get. I mean, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. You have all these guys that are paid huge money and they can't write a story, they can't tell a story, they can't finish a story, they can't start a story, and you have guys that are sitting here on social media saying you should do this, 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 and this, and some people's ideas are way better than mine. They can't figure it out, but some knuckleheads who are wrestling fans can. Doesn't say much for your company. And the WWE storylines have sucked. They've been terrible. The bloodline was awesome because of Roman, right? Roman carried it. So whether you like him or not, Roman was a fantastic champion. He did what he needed to do, right? Now he's going to follow his cousin The Rock and go to Hollywood and make 10 times more money than he ever did wrestling and not get hurt. So kudos to him. John Cena did the same thing. The Rock, they're all making way more money than they ever did wrestling, and they don't have to worry about getting hurt. So kudos. But yeah, so that's my bit on the whole WWE thing. Like I said, it's we could talk about it all night, and it's not going to go anywhere, right? My opinion's not going to matter. It's not going to change anything. Nobody else's is either. So, we could have fun and goof on it, but it's not going to do anything. And we're the dumbasses that are going to sit in front of the TV every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and watch it. So, no matter how much we beef about it, we're tuning in. So they get their numbers, they get their revenue, they get their TV deals, and here we are as fans, and this is it. So. But thanks for everybody who hopped on. I know Kimberly's here. I know Lens Hawk is here. Sylvia's here. Mama T-Bird was in for a little bit. So thanks for everybody, that's hopped on and said hi. Everybody who's liked the show, everybody who's been on, I appreciate it. If you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, One Fun Guy Podcast over on YouTube, that's where I want to go. No plans for the 4th. Fireworks locally, that's pretty much it. It falls on a Thursday, so I work the next day, so no plans, not really doing anything and just kind of chilling out. So Amit, what's up? So yeah, we're just kind of, doing our thing. Like I said, I hopped on tonight, guys, just to, kind of get in front of the camera again. And, I've been doing my podcast, a bunch of them, but I took this weekend off because I did 2 last week. So I'll do another one next Saturday, and we're just kind of, I'm good, buddy. How about you? I'm just hanging out tonight, getting my notes ready for my podcast with Letitia next week. Again, thanks for Kaji and Jack. If you guys don't follow them, they're House of Jack on TikTok and Kaji here on TikTok. Cult of Kaji is awesome. He's a guitarist. We had a great conversation. He is a fantastic person, and I love his guitar playing. I love his musical style, and just a great dude. So that was a super fun podcast. He's going to be on again. Jack's going to be on. We're going to talk horror next time. So, right? Caden, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, yeah. So, that's what I'm doing. So it'll be, Letitia will be on next Saturday. This Saturday, I'm just kind of hanging out with you guys. So, if there's any topics you want to talk about, if there's anybody who you think might make a good guest for a podcast, let me know. If you want to be on my podcast, let me know. I'm always growing. I have the next 7 weeks lined up, but, always planning for the future. So I have a July and August lined up, going into September, October, November. So it's going to be awesome. I'm really trying to get my cousin Mickey on. He is a retired lieutenant colonel in the Navy. He was a fighter pilot. So, you watch the movie Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. My cousin Mickey lived that life. I know when you see it on my podcast, but over my right shoulder are all his pictures from his Navy. He flew the F-14. He was a naval aviator, as they call them. He was in the Puking Dogs, and he was part of the Tomcats. So he had an awesome life and an awesome career as a fighter pilot. So I want him to be on my show, and a bunch of, well, charge your phone then. What are you doing? People have chargers. So yeah, so my cousin Mickey's cool. I'm trying to get him on. My cousin Bob played professional baseball. He was with the Iowa Cubbies, the AAA team. He got called up to the pros for a few games. So he's going to be on my show at some point. I'm just trying to work out the logistics with him. I got a lot of business people coming up. Tanner's going to be on. Letitia's going to be next week. So I have a bunch of cool episodes coming down the pipeline. But if anybody wants to be a guest or knows somebody who would make a good guest, let me know. I'm going to revisit if you ever want to be a guest on my podcast, let me know. Yeah, Amit, let's send me a message. We'll do each other's shows. That's awesome. I'll do yours, you do mine. That's cool. I do a conversation style podcast, so I'm kind of like a Joe Rogan. Whatever the person that I'm interviewing wants to talk about, that's what we talk about. Whether it's business, life, sports, whatever they got going on, I promote them. So if you subscribe to my channel, as soon as I'm done with this, I'll subscribe to yours, and we'll follow each other. And yeah, we'll be guests on each other's podcast. So we'll definitely set that up. That would be awesome. I've been a guest on 5 people's podcast, and I have 24 episodes of my own podcast. 23 technically. 24 will be with Tisha next week. So so I'm growing. I'm new. I started in January, so I'm about 5.5 months in right now. So I'm super stoked. Like I always say, the train is rolling on the track, and I'm not stopping it. I'm adding more coal to that fire. So it is awesome. I'm having a bunch of fun doing it. I've had some amazing guests. I'm going to have a ton more. So so I'm super excited about it. I the only thing I'd really like to do is try to hit 500 subscribers on YouTube relatively quick, and then try to get to 1,000 as fast as I can. That way, just so I could get the outreach of YouTube, right? Because not that they shadow ban me in any way, but they don't just push out my stuff because I don't have that much content. So I play the game, right? I put out shorts, put out videos, put out everything that I can. I try to do everything that I can to get my podcast, promoted. YouTube just recognizes me as a small channel, so I want to keep growing, and hopefully people could see my shorts and subscribe to my podcast. And I have Wind Up Chicago coming up pretty soon, so I'm going to do a vlog from there about watches. My buddy Greg's going to be there. He was a guest on my podcast 3 weeks ago. Greg the Watchman, so I'm going to do a show with him at Wind Up Chicago. So it's all about watches. I'm a huge watch fan, so it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. I got a bunch of stuff coming up, and then I had Paranoia Threat on my show a few months ago, and we are going to do a horror movie podcast. So I'm going to try to get a bunch of people on. I want to do like a Zoom style. StreamYard, I think, can get up to 4 people at once. So I'd like to do 4 people in the box, and I'll talk about our favorite horror movies. And then when we're done doing that, I'd like to get a couple people and talk about like action movies, comedy movies, just things that I'm passionate about, guys, right? I'm a huge movie fan. I read a bunch of books, so I obviously you can see behind me I have a bunch of music books there. I love books, I love movies, I love music, I love watches, I love sports, I love wrestling. So I want to talk about all that stuff on my podcast, and every guest that I've had has their own unique little thing that they want to talk about, whether it's their business, whether it's something they got going on in their life, things that they've accomplished, things that they look forward to. But I want to talk about things that I like to talk about too, right? So I've done watches so far. I've done movies. I've done wrestling. Now it's going to be horror movies. And so I think what I'm going to try to do is have Jack back on, Paranoia Threat, my buddy James. I'm going to see if I can get a few more people and see how many I can get in the Peacock or the StreamYard box, and then go from there, and then see what we can come up with and plan it out. Logistically, it's hard to get 5 people that have time on the same day. So my flexibility with time isn't always theirs. It's not easy to get that many people on at once. So logistically, it's hard to plan. It's hard enough just to get somebody on. What's up, Melana? It's hard enough just to get somebody on as a guest on a podcast on a weekly basis, let alone to try to get 5 other people to do a 6-person podcast. So I'm trying. That's what I'm working on. It's one of the things I've got down the pipeline. But yeah, Wind Up Chicago's coming up. So I joined a bunch of watch groups on Facebook. I've joined a bunch of watch groups here on TikTok. Instagram is more independent stuff, which is awesome because I like the indie stuff. But I'm just trying to get stuff that I like to talk about on the show. Like I love talking about watches. I love independent brands. I like, obviously I don't have the money to be in the big boy category with the Rolexes and the APs and the Pateks and the IWCs and the Vacherons and watches that are $8, $9, $10,000, Panerai, Omega. I don't have that big boy money, but I like kind of independent companies that have nice watches at sub $400, right? Get a nice watch for $250, $300. Not that I do it every week or every month, right? If I buy a watch for a couple $100, I buy that watch for maybe a year, right? I'll buy one or two of those a year. Obviously I try to save as much as I can to put towards a watch, of that stature. But, I like supporting the independent people and the local people as much as I can. Rolex is a multi-billion-dollar company. They sell tens of thousands of watches at $15,000 to $30,000 a piece a year. Rolex isn't hurting if I don't buy a sub or if I don't buy a watch from them, right? But an independent guy that sells 300 or 400 watches a year, if that at all, maybe less, and he has $300 or $400 for one of his watches, I'd rather support the little guy, right? Let him keep growing into a big company. So, I'm kind of, I support the local businesses, the small businesses. Patek doesn't need my money. Patek sells $100,000 watches. They sell, 300,000 of them a year. Or I'm not probably not that many, probably about $30,000 a year. But I mean, at that price, I mean, that's, $3.5 million that they're making on every watch they sell, and some are more, some are less. So they're making $400 million a year. They don't need my money, right? They don't really need anybody's money, but it's a status symbol. And one day I'd like to be there, right? Walk into a jewelry store and say, hey, I'd like to spend $30,000 on a watch, but I'd rather buy a car or a truck right now, right? $30,000 to some people is, a huge sum of money. It would get them out of debt. It would pay for school, student loans, things like that. There's other people that are doing very, very well for themselves, and $30,000 for a watch is like me spending $300 for a watch, right? It doesn't matter to them. Money's just not an issue. They have plenty of it, and they can spend it, and kudos to them, right? I'm not envious or jealous, or they've worked hard for their money and they have it, so good for them. But I don't. So, for me, I'd rather spend a couple $100 on an independent guy, and try to get him growing as a company so he can compete with the big boys one day, as opposed to, spending $30,000 on a watch, or 40 or 50 or 60 or whatever. And there's guys I watch, right? Kevin O'Leary and producer Michael, and, those guys, they're in a different stratosphere. They're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So like I said, for them to spend $100,000 on an AP is like me spending $100 on a Casio, right? So, and I'm not knocking Casio. I got a bunch of G-Shocks, so they're awesome. They're, military inspired. So that's they're hard use watches. And like I said, I wear my Apple Watch 99% of the time. So I mean, that's just kind of my daily. But I like having nice watches. I have a few nice ones, that I was able to acquire. But like I said, for me to spend a couple $1,000s on a watch, I don't have that. I'd rather do other things with it. Go on a vacation. Go pay off a couple bills or stuff like that. But hopefully down the road, where my podcast grows, and I can invest money back into my podcast and have people sponsor me and send me things and review things and talk about things. Like I'd be cool with that. So again, it's just nothing too crazy, but it's more for me, it's just being comfortable with what I could do. So I'd rather support the little guys, and shop local, and get small watchmakers and stuff like that. And it's the same with everything, right? No matter what you buy, right, you try to support the local people, right? My wife has a small business. I hope that people would shop with her, and anybody can go to Walmart or Target and whatever and buy a shirt, but buy it from a local business, right? Walmart doesn't need your money. And I'm not, like I said, I shop at Walmart myself, but if I'm going to buy a shirt, right, I wear Grunt Style, right? So a lot of my stuff is Grunt Style. They're a local company that's, she runs the Clubhouse Inc. So if you go, it's www.shoptheclubhs.com, or Facebook is the Clubhouse Inc. And when I do my live podcast, all the sweatshirts that I wear, the hoodies, sometimes they're leopard, sometimes they're ones with the octopus, sometimes they're multicolored. Those are all hers. She sells those. So I link it up on every one of my YouTube channels, guys. So she sponsored every one of my episodes that I've done so far. It's been her giving me a hoodie to wear, and so I'll do that. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But yeah, so like I said, I just I'd rather shop local, shop small business. Can I buy okay, so for example, Grunt Style shirts run about $20, roughly $25 a shirt, right? I like their stuff. They're inspired military, law enforcement, things like that, right? I can go and spend $30 on an Armani shirt, or probably $100 on a Ralph Lauren shirt or something like that. But I'd rather give it to somebody who's going to give back, right? Ralph Lauren is going to take my $100 and put it in his pocket. And like I said, he's a multi-billionaire. He doesn't need me to buy his shirts. He's got every celebrity under the sun buying his stuff. Same with Armani. Same with any other name brand stuff. So I just like the small stuff, right? So I wear a lot of Grunt Style, Oscar Mike. What's the other one that I've gotten into recently? A Warrior 12 is another one that I've started getting into. Just because they support local stuff, right? They give back to the community. Grunt Style gives a percentage of their stuff back to the military community, right? Oscar Mike does the same way. You buy a shirt from Oscar Mike, they donate 20% of that to local veteran stuff. I'd rather do that, right? Armani doesn't give a shit about the veterans or cops or military or first responder. So why would I support them, right? And like I said, I'm not knocking Armani. You want to buy that kind of stuff, awesome. You want to buy Ralph Lauren or any of the other Tommy Hilfiger, any one of the main ones, awesome. They're not giving to charity. I'd rather buy a shirt that's going to give something back to somebody, right? And again, I'm not knocking it, right? You want to buy Armani, buy Armani. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just, making the point that, my wife owns a small business, so I wear her stuff, and somebody asked me where I got my hoodie. I said, oh, it's from the clubhouse, and I explained to them what it is and what it does, and I'm the same way, right? So that's why I wear the Grunt Style stuff. That's why I wear Oscar Mike Warrior 12, and there's a couple other ones I've had. Like I brought some Black Rifle stuff. Black Rifle gives back to the military community, so I drink their coffee, and Blackout is another one. So I mean, there's a lot of people that give back to buying into a small business. Giving back to the community is my jam, right? That's what I want to do. And I'm not saying like I've never bought a Ralph Lauren shirt or I've never bought a Tommy Hilfiger shirt. Like I have, but if I can, I buy stuff that I could, that gives back to the community. That's kind of my goal. So, like I said, you do what you want. It's your life. You buy what you like. You wear what you wear. That's what I always tell everybody, right? You can't force anybody to do it. If your budget is buying at the Goodwill, buy at the Goodwill, right? I'm not making fun of anybody or knocking anything. But if I'm going to spend $50 on a shirt, I'd rather buy 2 Grunt Style shirts than one Armani shirt who Giorgio Armani doesn't give a shit about me or you, right? That's all I'm saying. Ralph Lauren doesn't care about me, doesn't care about, at least if I'm going to support somebody who's going to give back to the communities that I feel comfortable representing with military and first responders, that's what I'm going to do. So that's who I'm going to support, right? That I'd much rather do that and have them give a little bit back than to spend an absurd amount of money on somebody who just doesn't care that I exist. So that's my 2 cents for that. And it's the same with anything else, right? If you could afford to buy a $200 shirt, buy a $200 shirt. Do what you want. I can't. I buy $20 shirts. I buy Grunt Style when they're on sale. They're $24.99. Usually I try to buy them when they're $18, $19.99. And I'll buy them in bulk. I'll buy 3 or 4 at a time, right? And that's kind of what my prerogative is. And I buy things that support the people that I watch, right? I could wear a sports hat. I don't remember the last time I bought a team hat, right? This is Sean Ryan's hat from Vigilance Elite. I wear this a lot when I go live, just in case he ever happens to come across my stuff and he sees me support the channel. He might give me a shout out. Sean's kind of my inspiration in the podcasting business. So, but most of the hats I wear are, military inspired. I don't remember the last team hat I bought. It probably was a Chicago Bears hat, and it was probably about 5 years ago. I just don't wear team stuff, right? It's funny, and I always used to laugh at the line, right? If anybody's seen The Bronx Tale, right? That when he tells him, what's Mickey Mantle going to do for you? And you kind of just laughed at it, right? But it's like, it's true, right? I like certain athletes and I like certain sports. But for me to go out and buy a $300 jersey for a guy that isn't going to do anything for me and I don't really care to watch, I'd rather not do that. That's just me, right? And again, I played football. I'm not knocking pro athletes, but if I'm going to spend that kind of money on a jersey, I'd rather put it into something else that I could use, that gives back to the community. The NFL, they don't care about their fans, right? They want your money. They want you to go to the game and enjoy the sport. Fine, but I'm not going to support them, right? So, you know, so yeah, so it's just, with Sylvia, it's the same thing. Or whoever else is on, Crazy Kate's here, and there's a couple other people, but like, for me, I, my jam is supporting locals, right? If somebody's got a local company and they're a small business, I'm gonna go to them, right? And I'm not saying I don't buy Nike shoes and that I don't buy Reebok or I don't buy Adidas, right? Like it's not that. I'm not saying I never buy anything that's name brand, right? Most of the shorts that I wear are Reeboks or Adidas. I just like them more. They fit better than Nike for me. But tops, I'd rather buy from military inspired or law enforcement inspired companies, which is Grunt Style, Warrior 12, and Oscar Mike. That's kind of what you see me wearing. On my podcast, when I go live, I wear my wife's stuff, right? I'll wear a hoodie, and she sponsors the episode, and I support her when I do it. But when it's 85 or 90 degrees, it's hard to wear a hoodie outside. So most of the tops that I wear are Grunt Style or Oscar Mike or Warrior 12. That's just kind of what I've been accustomed to, and that's kind of what I do. So again, wear what you want to wear, buy what you want to buy. There's certain things that you can't get around, right? But like if I could do something that's going to help somebody else out, even in the slightest, I'm doing it. So like I said, if your budget is Walmart at $5 or $6 a shirt, awesome, right? You buy what you could afford, you buy what you like. But if you could help a small business or a business that gives back to the community, that's my first choice. So we'll go from there, right? So it's the same thing. So I talk about the communities that I'm a part of, right? So I love the watch community, I love the movie community, I love the music community. They're just fun people. They have similar interests. They're enthusiastic about what they like to do, and it's great conversation, right? So that's why I'm that way with the wrestling community, and pro sports, right? I'm not knocking it, right? I've watched the Euro League now is going on. Italy played today. I'll watch that. I'll watch race car driving, NASCAR, Formula One, MotoGP. But to buy into that for me is just not conducive to where my headspace is at. And I'm not saying I've never bought a NASCAR shirt or I've never bought a NASCAR hat. I have, but I just don't feel that it's that predominant in my life right now. At one point it was. I was super big into racing for a very long time. I'm just not anymore, right? Doesn't mean I don't enjoy watching it, but I just don't have time to sit there in front of it. I have my podcast, I have my job, my wife's business, traveling, things like that. Like I'm getting back into nature now, right? I like going on drives, going to parks, going on hikes, going to see what's out there. I'm just, out of all the things I could spend my money on, it's just that's not at the top of my list anymore, right? And so I like going to things that I'm invited to. Greg invited me to Wind Up Chicago, so I'm super excited about going to that. I'm super excited when I do stuff with my wife when she takes me out to the stuff for her, right? She goes to these clothing things and these conventions and all this stuff. I enjoy doing that, spending time with her and doing that kind of stuff. And it's just I most of my time now is spent watching podcasts, right? I like to see what other people are doing. Who they have on as guests, how they ask questions, how they have a conversation, how they set themselves up, what they do, right? So I love that aspect of that life is podcasting, right? So I like joining podcasting groups to watch other people's stuff to see what they have and what they got going on and how they operate and what they do. And so for me, that's exciting, right? That's fun for me. So in terms of everything else that happens, outside of the podcasting world in my career and my job, I just enjoy doing other things that don't have the same focus that they once did, right? And there were times when, I would go every Sunday and watch the Bear games with my cousins, right? That was the big thing, football Sundays. And we would go hang out at bars and we'd watch the game and then I just have no interest in that. I love my family, right? I'd love to hang out with my cousins again and do all that kind of stuff. But sitting there for 3 hours watching a football game, there's so much more stuff I would rather do with my time than to dedicate that to that. And that's what, like, for pro sports, like, there's guys that like to gamble and they like to watch sports as much as they can. That's not me. I like sports. If I have time, I'll watch a game, but I don't have that much time. All my time is invested into the podcast, my job, my truck, going out in the nature, doing all that kind of stuff. So that's what makes me happy now. So, and that's my message to everybody, right? Do what makes you happy. If, spending time with your family and watching movies and having a movie night makes you happy, and that's what, more power to you, right? I love sitting down and watching a good movie. I love doing all of that. When I have the time, that's what I'd much rather do, right? But if I can take an afternoon and go to a park or go to a pool or go to a lake and kind of just drive and walk around, I'd much rather do that than sit down in front of the TV and watch a race or a game. That's just me, though. I'm just in a different headspace in my life right now. I like to clear my head and bring my notebook. And, I always carry, I know I've showed this 1,000 times before, but I write down everything that I want in my head for my podcast. So if I take a long drive and I come up with some ideas, I open the notes app in my phone, I talk into my phone, and I write it all down, and I transfer my notes into my notebook. And that's kind of where I go with inspiration for who and what I want to talk about on my podcast. So to me, that's more enjoyable than parking my ass down on the couch and watching a game. Not to say that I would never do that again, but right now my priorities are different. My headspace is different. My thought process is different. My attitude is different. And that's just kind of it. Right now I live for me and not for anybody else. And before, I used to live for everybody else, right? Do the things that they wanted to do. They'd be like, hey, you want to go do this with me? Sure, I'll go do that. I didn't really want to do it, but I wanted to hang out with my friends and, hang out with my other family members and stuff like that. Now, I've kind of taken the more me approach, right? Like, I do stuff that makes me happy. And if I have time to do something else for somebody, great. But if I don't, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. And, it's tough because everybody grows up and has lives, right? All my best friends all have kids and families and stuff. So it's hard for us to get together. So the podcast now is my outlet to do good into the world. Like I love doing it, and I love making other people happy and putting smiles on other people's faces. And that's what I enjoy out of life right now. So that's why I do my podcast. I love meeting new people. I love talking to people. I love, getting to know people. And, the podcast is fun for me. It gives me something to look forward to. It's exciting for me to go live and talk to somebody and put it out there. And, I do all my own editing. I do all my own voiceovers. I do all my own music. I do all my own stuff. So, when I put together a video, it's just me. I'm a one-man show. I don't have a team of people doing, stuff for me. I don't have, software engineers and editors and, producers. And it's me with a camera and my laptop, and I do all my own stuff. And I've gotten better at it, and hopefully I keep getting better at it. But, I don't have the means to hire anybody and get a team going where a lot of other people do, right? But that's my goal, right? Is to get, thousands of subscribers on YouTube, right? And then hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and then hundreds of millions of subscribers, right? Like, those guys that have 7, 8, 9 million, subscribers on YouTube, those guys are making 100,000 a month, right? They can do what they want, buy what they want, get what they want, pay people what they want to do all their stuff for them. All they do is sit in front of a camera. Everybody else does all the work. For me, like I said, I'm a one-man show. I do everything. So it takes me a couple hours to plan, a couple hours to prep, 45 minutes to do the podcast, about an hour to edit it, posting it, promoting it. I'm a one-man team. So, and then that's what I do. That's what I enjoy. That's what I like to do. That's what makes me happy. So to me, it's not work. It's just fun, right? And I don't get anything for it, right? All I get is the love and support of you guys. That's what I get out of it. I don't get anything monetarily for it. All I do is, get the appreciation and like I said, the love and support from you guys, and the kudoses and the attaboys, and keep it up. You're doing a great job. Like, that means the world to me. That's more than any dollar, I can get right now. Luckily, I have a good job where I don't need to worry about money on that end of things. But, if I'm ever going to grow my podcast, what's up, Wayne? And I'm going to grow it. Obviously, I'm going to need money to put into my podcast. So that's going to be a different story. So that's why I want the YouTube support to pay me so that I can get eventually a nice studio, get proper equipment, get a proper camera, get, somebody to help me edit the videos and make them, awesome. And, but I'm having fun now and I'm learning, right? So that's the biggest thing, right? Down the road, even if I could afford to do an editor, to hire an editor or producer or anything like that, I would still do it on my own anyways because I enjoy it, right? I'd love to have somebody hold a camera for me, right? And have different views and have different angles and, actually afford to fly my guests to come and see me, right? That would be awesome, right? Down the road, I have my own studio, I have my own stuff. Buy somebody's plane ticket to come and fly, to wherever I'm at that point. Who knows? Maybe probably out of Illinois, but, let's just say, for example, I moved to Florida, right? Fly somebody from California to Florida to come do a podcast with me. Put them up in a hotel, let them, stay and fly them back home. Like that's the name of the game, right? To have cool people from all over and, be able to invite them to your studio and come on. There's nothing wrong with Zoom. Like I like doing that, right? There's nothing wrong with StreamYard or, Facebook Live or YouTube, right? Nothing's wrong with that. But how awesome would it be to be like, hey, come and hang out in my studio. Let's do the podcast together and, get them down. Like I have the means to be like, hey, here's your plane tickets, in your email, check it, get on the plane, come and see me, and all your expenses are covered while you're hanging out with me. That'd be awesome, right? So hopefully that happens one day. I don't know, but that's the goal, right? Is to do that. So, I'm super happy about that. Vantage Mom, what's up? So that's the name of the game, right? Is to promote the podcast, have people subscribe to my YouTube channel, keep my YouTube channel up and growing, keep it strong, keep it moving. And getting good guests on my show, right? That's the name of the game, right? Just to make it, a popular, productive thing, right? So, hopefully one day, that'll be the case, and that would be awesome, and I would get to that point, and that's kind of where I'm at. But it's just kind of cool to have, other people on and to hang out and to, see what everybody else is doing, in this life and. Check in with them and, see what's happening and, have some fun with everybody and kind of, have everybody do their thing. And, that's pretty much what it's all about. So, that's, my goal is to be happy and make other people happy. And, I'm excited that's what I like doing and, that's what I love to do. And, like I said, as much as I love the TikTok community, like that's not all about hopping on and, battling and telling people to tap my face and share my show. And, if you do, awesome. But, all I need is for you guys to tell all your friends to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If everybody can get one person to subscribe and then they can get one person to subscribe, that's what I'm all about, right? Growing my YouTube channel is my big thing, right? If I get 5,000 followers on here or 10,000 followers on here, awesome. But my goal is to grow my YouTube channel. And that is the biggest thing that I have to have happen right now is to get those numbers up. So when that happens, I'll be, do it. So, I'll be happy. And that's kind of, where I'm at. So, the contentness of it is awesome, right? I'm not on here begging for people to send me galaxies and send me, there's a lot of people that do, and I'm not knocking them. If that's your prerogative and that's what you want to do, more power to you. That's awesome. My goal is to get eyes on my YouTube channel. So I come on here and I ask everybody to go over there and subscribe to my channel. It takes 30 seconds to go to YouTube and find me and subscribe. I'm One Fun Guy Podcast. I pop right up, hit the subscribe, and everybody I can get is awesome. So like I always ask, if you guys just have one friend that could subscribe and they have a friend that could subscribe, that's how I'm going to grow, and that's what I'm doing. Growth on TikTok is awesome, right? I love people following me. But I would prefer the YouTube subscription over the TikTok, And again, once I get to the 5,000, I open up a TikTok shop. All my TikTok stuff is going to be, all my shop stuff is going to be, it's going to be podcast friendly, right? So it's going to be microphones, it'll be headphones, it'll be lighting, it'll be everything to do. All right, Sylvia, have a good night. It'll be everything that I have to do to grow somebody's podcast and show them what is cool, right? I use my microphone here. It's not plugged in now because obviously, I'm not doing the podcast, but for me, it's a microphone. I have 2 cool lights, and I'm lucky I have my studio set up here, which has great lighting and great sound. So, I'm awesome. So, and in that terms of everything, what's up, Rose? In terms of all of that happening and everything going on, like for me, that's what I'd want to do in a TikTok shop is, promote my podcast equipment, right? Tell somebody, hey, buy this microphone, buy these earphones, buy these earpods, buy these, lights, buy this stuff. Yeah, that's what I want to do, right? I have a really cool desk that I'm on. It raises and lowers, right? You can find those on the TikTok shop, but I'd rather get stuff that would help somebody do a podcast. That's my goal, right? Just to people that want to start podcasts or that have one and want to better themselves like I do, it's equipment, right? Everything helps. Whether you have an iPad, a laptop, a tablet, your phone, somebody's old camera, whatever you got, use what you have. But if I can test out some equipment that'll help somebody's podcast be better, that's what I'm about. So, that's it. So, with that being said, guys, I am gonna hop off for the night. I'm One Fun Guy Podcast across all the platforms. So here on TikTok, over on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube, One Fun Guy Podcast. Find me, like me, subscribe to me, share me, do all the stuff, guys. But really, if you can just hop on YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'm One Fun Guy Podcast over there. That would mean the world to me. So I hope everybody has a great Saturday night. I hope everybody has a great Sunday. Everybody has a great weekend. I will be live again with Letitia next Saturday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I again want to thank Kaji and Jack for being great guests, and Kaji especially, just because we worked so hard to get him on. He is a phenomenal musician. So if you guys can subscribe to Cult of Kaji here on TikTok and on Instagram, follow him because he is amazing. So with that being said, guys, everybody have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe and subscribe to the One Fun Guy Podcast. I will see you guys next Saturday night with Letitia. It's going to be awesome. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll talk to you guys soon.